Okay, well, it's Wednesday night after work. Trying to bang out as much as I can tonight before it gets too late. What I'm going to start with is trying to finish up the firewall. Okay, the firewall's got a bunch of holes from where I overcut before I made the tunnel. I need to patch all that back in, and there's a bunch of open holes in the firewall, so I need to seal all those up before I move forward on anything else. Alright, so you probably wondering why I cut the squares in the back of the cab. I cut them out so what I could do is get in there with the MIG and weld out the back of the cage. There was no way to do it in there. It's up tight against the roof in the back of the truck. You're not going to get that weld. So I cut it out and did it. Now I'm putting the sheet metal pieces back in. And whenever you cut a piece of sheet metal the exact size to go in there flush, the hardest thing is holding it in place. You can try to tack one side and bend it in, but if it's thin metal, it's going to warp. So, little trick, tack a nail to it, and you can hold it in place while you tack it. Magnet works great if you have it, and it's steel, you can, use a magnet. So, anyway, that's what I'm doing. Alright, so the gaps got way too big on these pieces, and it was from me trying to cut out the second roof line on the inside, and the blades and stuff just worked the hole way too big. So I'm using a little trick I do where I take two pieces of TIG welding rod, and I take the drill and I braid them together. Now I'll use it to hold in the gap and then tack along with it, and it'll help me fill the hole because this stuff's so thin. You can't fill a hole like you can with normal steel. It's going to blow out on you, or you end up working a small hole into a big hole before you fill it. So just use welding rod. Alright guys, well it's Saturday morning, and so this is my first full day that I can actually work on the truck. So I'm going to push as hard as I can to get as much as I can done today. Because it's Saturday morning and we leave for the races on Friday at noon. And I have to work, of course, during the week. So today and tomorrow I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can to get as much done so that during the week it's just the final touches. So far what we've got is we've finished welding the cage. We've welded in the floor, we've welded the tunnel, we've, sorry, I'm reading my list on the dash here. We took care of the core support, we did all the front caging, we did the radiator mounts, we moved the clutch pedal, we moved the brake pedal, I still gotta do the gas pedal. The front shocks all been changed, new shock towers, everything's good there. The rear shocks are all done up. I can't read my own writing. The seat mounts are done. The firewall's been completely finished, and the headlights have been put in. Okay, so the daunting task for today is to shorten this truck. Now, I know a lot of you guys commented on the last one, why on earth would you do that? Just buy a drive shaft, buy a drive shaft. Okay, I went to 3 different places and talked to them. Because this was a long bed, the 2-piece drive shaft, and I'm trying to run a single piece, just because I don't want to put that much torque through a 2-piece, okay? It has to be aluminum for the length. They want $550 for a drive shaft. I only got 50 bucks, okay? So what I did is I went and bought some plates and some stuff I need for 15 bucks. I'm gonna shorten this truck down for $15, okay? And a few hours of work. I used to do this for a living a long time ago, shortening and lengthening semi-trucks. This is just a love. It's not hard. That's why I'm doing it. I know a lot of people don't understand that. Why would I do it? But 15 bucks, 550 bucks. I'm broke, this is the way I do it. All right, let's get to it. All right, so I got the truck in position, swept up, cleaned off everything. So now the first thing I gotta do before I can even start the shorten is get a proper measurement. Now, the drive shaft needs a new U-joint, so we're gonna show you how to do that right now so that we can get it all installed and do the mock-up, okay? Now you'll see Austin running around here helping me some, but his car is a disabled car and he's trying to put new axles in it right now. So he'll be bouncing back and forth. And so if you're wondering why he keeps going by and you don't really see him, he's just grabbing tools. Now the first thing you're gonna do is on the inside, this is an inside clip, sometimes they're outside, is remove the retaining clip. So I did that. Now I've got to get this out. I don't have a press, so I've got to do it with a hammer. So I've gotten a socket that's bigger than the cap. I'm gonna put it on here and smack it. Now if this side's on the vise, all I need to do is smack it down and release this cap out of here. See how the cap unseated? Simple as that. This one's actually in really good shape. All right. Roll it over. Do the exact same thing to this side. We're making sure that we're not putting any pressure on the drive shaft itself, only on the U-joint. We can remove, and it's out. Now I'm gonna take a minute and clean these up and clean out the retaining rings, everything on it, so that when it goes back in, it's all nice and clean. And we got our new U-joint here. We're gonna open it up and remove two of the caps that we don't need to use right now. Nice and easy. Make sure you don't screw up the needles in there. If you knock one down, just go back and fix it and put it back where it goes. Now these look like they've been pre-greased, so I'm still going to add a little to them, but they look pretty good. I'll take just a little bit, smear it around in here, make it go in a little easier. Now, slip that deal in. Just like so. Now what I do is flip the socket over and use the flat side. Okay. Roll it over. Do the exact same thing on this side. Now that this is completely installed, it's a little tight, but we're going to put the clips in and then we'll give it a couple smacks to help loosen it right back up. Use a flathead to help seat it. There. It's a lot easier if you have somebody holding the drive shaft, but Alright, so look, we've cleaned off everything possibly we could on the frame. I mean, these pieces will be cut out, but the rest is all cleaned off, ground all the way around. So we went ahead and mocked up the drive shaft one more time, pulled a measurement, and of course it changed. So we've done it a couple of times now, and we're getting a consistent number. So we've got to take 19 inches and 13/16, 19 inches and 13/16 out of the frame so that drive shaft will meet up. So now I'll start laying this out. Now I'm not going to do a straight cut on it. I'm going to cut it at a 45. And that way the weld is a big 45. You don't have a steady break like that. So I'll start laying everything out now, and then we'll cut it, grind it, and roll it forward. Alright, well, it's all welded up. Now, you might notice that I had to stagger the frame. Now, the reason is the frame actually changed diameter going back, and it sloped up. So in order to keep everything straight, I had to shift it right at a 1/2 inch. So I took 1/2 inch solid stock, slid it in there and welded it out, so that way there's no open gaps, and filled it all in. So now I've got to sit and just grind until I get it all smooth so I can put the fish plates on the side.
It's like a bullet in your head. Whoa, it's like a viper in your bed.
So when they weld this diff, all they did was weld around the outside. So what I'm taking is 1/4 inch plates I've cut and putting them in between the gears and welding all the teeth to it, all in between, filling it with weld. So this plate's in there to help. So what I got is Caleb cleaning out the diff now after I welded it. So he's going to go through and make sure there's no loose berries or anything left over from the weld before we close this thing up. Well, we got a goober thread on this back axle and I'm missing a broken one on that one, so we've got to get in here and change these studs. So once he's done here, now the drum's stuck, so a few little and this was the goober thread.
Yep.
Stack washers up so that you can space the nut out, fill it in until you get it flush on the back. And that's it. Once it's nice and tight and it's seated on the back, you just go ahead and back off the nut. Take the washers off and your new stud's installed. So simple and easy. Alright guys, well it's Tuesday morning. I'm out here trying to get some things done before I have to take my wife to the doctor, and then I have an appointment later. So just trying to squeeze in everything I can. I've been working at midnight every night after work. We're getting close, we're about there. Of course too, I'm sick. I've been sick all week, but I gotta get this done. So, alright, well today I've got quite a few things on my list, but right now I've got to make clearance for the radiator hoses, throttle cable, clutch, pedal, and bleed. And then sometime today I got to work out shortening the bed. So it's going to be a busy day in between appointments and back and forth, but got to get it done because I only got a couple nights of fine tuning shit before we leave. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut this bed quickly. It's raining off and on, so I'm gonna run out in the driveway, mark it and cut it. And but I'm doing it a little different than I normally do. Normally I sit there and measure and lay it all out forever. I've taken a piece of poster board, I've cut the exact piece that needs to be cut out. I'm gonna tape it on, square it up, trace it, move it along. Do it that way I can do the layout rather quickly. So I'm not gonna be able to have the camera, you're not gonna be hearing anything out there. The neighbor, they have gardeners, okay? And I think the guy gets paid by the gallon because that blower hasn't shut off in 2 hours. So, all right, I'm gonna put the camera in the garage, point it out, and get the best shot I can of this, all right?
Hands on the ground and rain begins to fall. Go and fear all around. Shadow dances on the wall. Seems like only yesterday I held you in my hands, and now I'm looking on your grave and sit on heavy pants. I've got no sun that shines on.
All right, well, I luckily finished cutting the bed before the rain hit. So it's sitting outside the door. Yeah, it's getting wet, whatever. But it's outside the door. So once I'm done and we get this place cleaned up and I finish everything else, we can just set the bed on, line it up, and stitch it out. So now I'm working on doing my fuel line. Now I've got aluminum fuel line. I know a lot of guys say run steel, whatever. It's what I got, okay? So I've cut it to length and I've built it up where it comes down the frame, around the brake booster and up. And all the old timers have told me never rubber mount your fuel line. I guess it causes vibration and then you get air bubbles and it runs lean. I've never experienced this, but why not? If I've got to do the mounts, I'll just do hard mounts, okay? So, I don't have hard mounts, so now I'm making them. So look, what I'm doing is just taking a piece of 16 gauge sheet metal, whatever width I can find, and I've got a piece of 3/8 rod. Now I'm bending it around the rod, crimping it, drilling a hole, and I'm bolting it. This way it will pinch down on it and hold it all along the way. I've already done one on the firewall here. I'm gonna go ahead and do another one at the bottom of the firewall, so it's gonna stay tight there. Then I'll do a couple on the frame, then one at the end where it goes a soft line to the fuel tank. So anyway, I'm gonna make some of these guys up real quick and I'll show you what they look like when we're done. All right, well there you go. Nice, simple, easy. Okay, don't have to run out and buy them. You got tons of scrap from all the sheet metal work. Just bang them out real quick. Use a 1/4-20 nut and washer, mount them right up. Well, maybe one of you guys can explain to me why you don't want to rubber mount a fuel line, because I don't get it. I mean, from the factory, it's got rubber clips on it. I don't know. So, some of you guys have been around the block a lot more than me. Let me know in the comments, why do you not rubber mount a fuel line? I mean, at least a rubber insulator. So, anyway, let me know so I can change it if I did it wrong. Well, guys, that's all I got for this week. Now, there was a lot of things done not on camera, all right? There was tons of little stuff that was done all week. I mean, we've been going at this non-stop every night trying to get this done. And we've got 2 more nights of prep to do. One night's gonna be wiring, and then the last night, hopefully, will be the final shakedown of everything. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna try to cut the center out of that bed, hang the bed sides, tack the front on. But you know what? If I don't get to it, I'll run it with no bed. I really don't care. So, anyway, well guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll be posting up next week, and it should have us completing this and the drag. So, stay tuned. Hope you guys have a great night. I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Well guys, it's Saturday morning. Okay, all week we're doing a couple hours each night, as late as we could go. Really? Alright, so you're probably wondering why I cut the squares in the back of the cab. Well, the reason I did is so I could get in there with a torch and weld the back side out. I said torch, don't know why. You know, get it tacked in place, snap the why am I repeating myself? I do that a lot.